Today on Shredding Spree, we're talking about e-bikes. No, we're not. Actually, we're just going to talk about my bike, sort of a long-term review of the 2021 Stumpjumper Evo. Before I get going and combing through all the details about this bike, I wanted to take a quick second to acknowledge that yes, I do realize it's been a long time since I've posted a video. My workload at my regular job has been picking up a lot lately, which is a good thing, but that darn career really gets in the way of making my little bike videos. I have missed making these videos and I missed the interaction with all the viewers, so stick with me. Sometimes I'm gonna go dark for a little bit, but I'll always come back. So all right, let's talk about this ride. This is my 2021 Stumpjumper Evo Comp. It's the carbon frame with the SLX build. I bought this bike last December. Since then, I've put just about 600 miles on it and about 100,000 feet of climbing. 100,000 feet of climbing in 6 months sounds like a lot to me too, but I don't know, that's just the way it goes when you do 10-mile rides in punchy terrain. Overall, I'm still really pumped with this bike. Its ability to get rowdy on the downhills and still be a decent climber has really made it a joy to ride. I'm still pumped on the comp build too, and I've had no part failures during this stretch of time. So I guess I can just kind of start from the top and work my way down through all the components and let you know how each thing has worked out for me. So starting with the grips, these things are great. They feel fine in my hands. I've never had any issues with them. They're showing very little wear. It's basically all I can ask for in a handlebar grip. The handlebars are alloy bars. There's not a ton to report there. Once I got the bike and I rolled them forward from where the previous owner had them set, I haven't had to think about it since. I still have the factory stem on there. I think the length feels right for me. Nothing else to report there. Moving down to the headset, I have to say that I'm quite impressed with how sound this adjustable design has been. I've only taken it apart once, and that was to chase a creak that I was getting when I was turning the handlebars, but it ended up just being where the brake line goes into the frame. Great, I'll never get that hour back. Shifting back to the seat, this is probably the best saddle that I've ever had. It fits my undercarriage just right, and I've never gotten a sore bum from riding on it. When I did my initial new bike day video, I noted that I had swapped out the stock 150mm dropper with the 200mm P&W loam dropper. I've since come into a One-Up Components 210mm dropper, and I'm actually liking that one a lot better. It's got a smoother operation, and that extra 10mm of travel is pretty nice. Up front, I've still got the stock Fox 36 rhythm fork. I started my setup with Fox's recommended settings, and then I added a few pounds of air for a little extra support. I've been riding it like that ever since, and I've got no complaints. I don't even know how many tokens are in this fork because I've never felt the need to take it apart and investigate. The shock, on the other hand, did not hold up to the quote-unquote bottomless characteristics that I was seeing in all the bike tests. I started with all the settings where Fox recommends it, added a little bit of extra air, and I would still go out on some days and bottom out on some stupid stuff. Rather than just filling the thing up with air, I decided to swap out the volume spacer to the next size up, and it's worked out a lot better for me. Since I shot this review, I've learned about the suspension calculator on the Specialized website, where you input your specific bike, height, and weight, and it gives you their own baseline settings. These settings from Specialized were quite a bit different from where I found myself after my initial setup, and they've been great. I still left the bigger volume spacer in there, and I haven't been having any bottom out issues since. So basically, disregard my uninformed gripes about the shock. I'm happier now. Moving back to the drivetrain, it's all Shimano SLX. The cranks, the cassette, the derailleur, the chainring, and the shifter. It's all worked pretty flawlessly, just with a few adjustments over time, and I'm still running all the original parts, even the chain. These 4-piston SLX brakes still have fantastic bite. It kind of blows me away with all of the steep descents that I've done. I haven't even put a bleed on these things yet, and I still get really good feedback with no performance loss. I'm getting right into that time where I'm gonna need to flush the system out, but hey, it's still working, so I'm not gonna touch it. I've noticed that at times when the brakes are hot and under heavy load, they do groan quite a bit, which in the past on bigger park days has led to a smoked rotor. I don't think that this is the brake's fault, and I wouldn't be shocked if there's just a little bit of contamination in my brake pads. After all, I did just catch my 7-year-old trying to spray my hardtail with sunscreen the other day. The SLX hubs have performed fine. I have noted in the past that I would like a little bit higher engagement in the rear hub for those technical climbs. That lack of engagement has also led to some loud ping sounds on low speed, heavy landings. But on the flip side, I've also noted in the past that I do like a quiet bike, and this hub doesn't make a lot of noise. So I'd call it a win. Shifting out to these alloy rims, they've been fine. I've had some pretty rough and chunky days on these things, but for the most part, the wheels are perfectly true. There's a tiny bit of wobble in the back, but it's not nearly enough to make me want to do anything about it. To finish up with the tires, I would say that this is the only thing that I don't really have a clear opinion on. I've never felt like I was lacking grip with this setup, especially in the front. I like the butcher tread pattern, and after 600 miles, the knobbies are still big and sharp. Fantastic. The rear appears to be a little bit of a faster rolling tire, but I would say still a pretty grippy tread pattern overall. The tread is starting to look a little bit tired on the rear, but I would say that there's still many miles to be had on those tires if that were my only measuring stick. With the current level of wear on the tread in the front and back, I honestly wouldn't even be considering a new set of tires yet. But they're both coming apart. The rear tire actually has knobbies that are coming off of the core of the tire. This isn't what's happening on the front tire. On the front, I've got cracks going all the way around the sidewall to where you can see the core through it in some spots. I've never had this issue with mountain bike tires in the past where the build of the tire starts to fail before the tread's even worn out, which kind of made me start to think that this might be a defect. When I asked my local Specialized dealer about it, they didn't seem very interested in investigating the issue. They didn't ask to see the tire, and they basically implied that mountain bike tires should be worn out within 6 months after consistent use. So I don't know, the tires are either defective or my expectations are unreasonable. Regardless, I don't think I'll be buying Specialized tires again. I do ride consistently, and I've gotten over 1,000 miles out of a set of Maxxis tires in the past without any cracks on the sidewall. So I'll use that as my segue into my overall feelings on the bike. The Stumpjumper Evo is definitely not heavy for what the bike is. However, I feel like the back of this bike could stand to lose a little bit of weight. That's probably specific for my comp build with the SLX hub cassette derailleur combo, but that's kind of the only thing I can pick out. Other than that, the only thing that's annoyed me about this bike on a few occasions is that the bottom bracket area of the frame sort of resembles that of an e-bike. To the point where on a few occasions, I've been accused by hikers and other cyclists of using battery assistance, and I had to spend the rest of those days feeling offended. Overall, this has been a fantastic bike. I spent a little bit of time playing with the geometry early on to create the ride feel I was going for. The comp is a very sensible build that'll hold up to the abuse of an advanced rider without breaking the bank. The bike climbs well enough that I've been able to PR a handful of the toughest climbs around here, even beating out my hardtail. And it's so much fun riding down the hill, it makes you just want to pedal back up and do it all again. Now, I shouldn't say this out loud, but after all the miles and all the descents, I've only crashed this bike one time since December. And it's June. That's either a testament to a good handling bike, or I'm just not pushing myself hard enough. Either way, with all the loose downhills and all the KOM chasing, I'm honestly shocked I haven't crashed this thing more. But that's all about to end because I just brought it up. Why'd you even say that? So that's it. I've been planning on changing things up around here for a while, but before I say goodbye to this setup, I wanted to give you a quick overview on how well it's treated me over the last 6 months. Thanks for watching.
That's a cut. That's a cut.